Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be taking a look at the third installment of the anthology series Cram from Cram Books. It's a risograph series, so I always like that. I love the tactility of risographs, and then love anthologies like this where the goal is to expose up-and-coming creators to a wider audience and give them a place to play. So I just want to go through this and show you, one little piece from each of the creators, give you some people to follow up on, and hopefully incentivize you to come by Cram number 3, because it's a really cool anthology that we all deserve to keep going for a long time. We deserve to see that. I don't know who did this piece here, but I really like it. It almost looks like it's drawn with forks or razor blades and forks or something. Really lovely effect. I'd love to know how that's done, because I'd like to steal it and play with it. On the inside front cover, you have a piece called Music 2 by Angela Fonche. That one didn't really stand out to me in terms of the story. Here is the story Pot Boilers. This is by Steve Grove. You can see some of the really fun formal play with the composition here. This little shout out to the Kathy cartoon where you've got the little ack. There's a lot of other shout outs to other cartooning styles in here. Some really interesting, just compositional stuff throughout. Steve Grove is someone I'm definitely going to be checking out after this. Audra Stang. Audra is somebody I have seen in a lot of anthologies doing some really interesting work. I bought her stuff, her book, The Audra Show, and that universe that she was building there wasn't very compelling to me. But the stuff that I'm seeing in all of the anthologies that's a little more grounded is really compelling to me. But this one's here is just these characters. Looks like they're sitting around watching a movie. This piece is by Jake Lloyd. Really interesting. I don't know, it reminds me of the type of stuff that kids who are into graffiti when I was in junior high were drawing. It's a style I haven't seen in a while, but Stussy, the way people always drew those characters with the big pants and the shoes, it feels like that mixed with Von Baudet and I don't know, some other cartooning. The writing is a little off for me. It's, oh man, what the fuck, ah, Jesus Christ, what the fuck, man, what the fuck, what did you do to me, fuck, man, I'm so sorry, fuck, Jesus, fuck. I mean, it's obviously purposeful, but it was hard for me to get through that. Michelle Kwan, really like some of the style here and these diagrammatic approaches to things. Love the colors that are used. This is one of the things that I love about the risograph is each artist can get their own colorations and spot colors that they're using, even as you flip through, from things like normally you're going to have to print things on every 16 pages if you're going to want to get spot colors, but because with the risographs you can kind of put in whatever you want and run them off like a copy machine, there seems like there's more variety in here that is catering towards each creator without having to worry about whether they're in these signatures or not. This piece here is by the artist Stephen Christie. Really like the story in this one, really like the art, love this big wall of fish that he's drawing here. There's this sci-fi element to it. So I think that was one of my favorite in terms of art and story in this. This is Nicole Rodriguez, some very surreal, symbolic surrealism going on in here. Not big on the crayon look in that one. Grayson Bear. Grayson is someone that I picked up stuff from at Mocha. I've really enjoyed everything that I've seen from Grayson. I think he's got a lot of really interesting formal ideas about comics, and his writing's always entertaining as well. This one's called Relatable Richard, and he's always seems entrenched in the Gen Z, he's obviously Gen Z, but also is kind of poking fun at things. So I used an app on my smartphone to get a date with a non-binary person. I sure hope my anxiety and depression don't get in the way. So there's always this I don't know, playful look at the culture as it exists for youth. That's the sense I get out of Grayson Bear's work. There was one of his own books had kind of poking fun at Portland culture a little bit, but also seeming accepting of it. It's not totally fighting back. So it's interesting mix. Grayson's someone definitely on my radar. I want to see where he goes. This is by Sam Sharp. Love the cartooning in here. There's some real, like, you can see Bill Watterson, especially in how this character's face and hair is handled. Really nice cartooning throughout. And a cute little story basically about, I think, someone on the autism spectrum, where he's there with his sister or friend or somebody, and he's just kind of shouting, "I want buffalo burger, no, 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 I want to eat," having like a meltdown in public, and seeing like the family having to deal with that is really interesting, touching little story, and really well written and really well illustrated. Ashton Carlis and Ethan Means, these are people I'm familiar with from, I believe, all the stuff that Floyd Tangeman puts together. I think Ashton Carlis is part of that group there. And this like more like mixed media approach, this more sci-fi approach that I associate with Ashton Carlis, someone else that I really like, and it's someone who's often collaborating with other people, is cool. Brendan Leach, there's some really awesome stuff going on in the art here as well, taking advantage of the risograph, being able to have these things where the black isn't trapping the blue, so the blue and the black mix together, and then you see the black by itself. Things that you would get in old comics that we don't get now, but people miss the look of it, and so they're recreating it. And I think just like with the panel like this, where the gal is playing this violin, it really adds to the motion of it. If this would have all just been like the blue and the black overlaid perfectly, it wouldn't have had as much motion to it. So people learning to use some of these production tricks as part of the art, not just as an incidental, but something that enhances the art, not piling the colors up here so it gets a little grayer looking. I just think like painting with the colors, with the black being part of the paint that you're using, is an interesting idea. And so I really like this piece by Brendan Leach. And then Aidan Fitzgerald puts out a really just interesting like pixel-based piece here, and talking about this strange game. The longer it takes the contestant to reach the final position, the more points they earn. The more compelling the memory, the more points they earn. The cooler the final position, the more points they earn. So the game here is you have to like slowly starting from a seated position, you must recount the memory while rising to a final position. And then in order to win, contestants must rise as slowly as possible, synchronizing their current body with their former body. So it's a really interesting like thought experiment about what that would look like. I don't know that the art does the best job of conveying that. It would have been cool to have a bunch of little panels like showing that sequence happening very, 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 very slowly. But I do like the art style that accompanies it, and the idea itself is really compelling. So as always with Cram, a lot of great stuff in here, a lot of artists that I had to go search on Instagram right away, right afterwards. And people like Sam Sharp, whose work I really, really look forward to seeing more stuff. People whose like self-published books, I'm going to go get things like that. So Cram's a great place to see what's going on, who the up-and-comers are, and I would definitely encourage you to go get yourself a copy. Solid Yellow, Path of the Shades by Clarence Doss is a really cool ongoing project that Living the Line will be producing. Clarence is a PhD student from Fiji who's studying the myths of Fiji for his doctoral thesis. And part of that study project is that he's producing these comics. They're kind of like Hellboy, where there's these little short stories that capture all of these different mythologies. But then he's using that to wrap the project into his doctoral thesis, and then provide educational material where people can come to these comics. They don't have to read his PhD thesis. They can come to the comics and get a more consumable version of the mythology of Fiji.
Make sure to like, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell.